as the episode was unfolding with all the chaoticness of it all, I was trying to figure out in the back of my head. I'm like, who is the oldest out of the two sisters? And they finally revealed that Tasha was the oldest. I was like, okay, that's okay. I get it. I get it now. But but from what Tasha had said at Tiny's house, she was like, we are dysfunctional. We're not holding each other accountable. Everything is being swept under the rug and things never get addressed. And basically, this stuff needs to be nipped in the bud. And I'm like, which I'm pretty sure everybody is not all squeaky clean in the group, but far as what we are seeing on TV, girl, uh, uh are you talking to the group or you're talking specifically to someone but you're not saying their name? Okay, that's what I was thinking. I don't know where my freaking fan at, but I was like, Asha, come on, auntie, come on now. Ah, but Tasha had said in her confessional that they are a God-fearing family and they are tight knit. And Tamika asked, "Why are you still mad at me?" And then Tasha was like, "We're not going to talk about this. We can discuss it separately, but not in front of them two right there." And then that's when she was like, this matter is in since this matter is in regards to my mom. And then she had to quickly correct herself, saying our mom, because Tamika was like, your mom. And then and Tasha was like, our mom, our mom. And I was like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. What is going on? Fun fact, if you have watched Kandi speak on it already, she said this episode had so much going on that they really had to cut it. So they had to cut so much in order to fit whatever was in this episode. She also said that there was so much content that they had for this season, and it had to be cut to 6 episodes. And I'm like, well, shoot, go ahead and roll out that second season, because y'all gonna need it. Okay? Because this is too darn good. Now on to Taj. Segue to Taj on their segment. She lives in Nashville, great city. And she had mentioned that she gave a little backstory of her and her family unit, saying that she followed her heart to, and her heart was Eddie because he played in the NFL at the time with the Tennessee Titans, and they have one son together, and I believe they have a eldest son too, a bonus baby that they say. But this time around, Eric is graduating from high school and he is a senior, but he's definitely already graduated by now because they recorded this way back when. But I thought this was a nice balance to the episode because it shows the balance between Taj and her husband, and when it comes to their family unit. Before then, Taj had followed Eddie, and he pursued his dreams in the NFL. Now that he's retired, the roles have reversed, and Taj is working, and doing her thing out there. The son is like, hey, mom, let me know when you going so I can get the car. Okay. I thought that was so cute. But hey, it also shows the true testament of the kids really do be growing up fast on you. And to spend every second, every moment while you have it. And that is one thing I love about Taj, because she said, once I walk up in this house, I'm not thinking about work. It's all about my family and my kid at the end of the day. And I'm like, that's what I'm talking about. That's what needs to be happening, not only in the escape group, but also for everybody. Having a sense of balance when it comes to work and school, because I kid you not, once I get off the clock, I ain't thinking about that job. Okay, I'm not thinking about that job until I clock back in. All right, no emails at all. If you call me, I'll answer. But other than that, I ain't thinking about no work when I'm off. Okay, not at all. Also, it segue over to Coco. So Coco, I'm assuming Coco and her mom and Jalen live together. But Jalen, he's 19, and I'm pretty sure he's probably about 20 years old by now. But she wanted him to be a dentist, but now he wants to be a singer. And from what I've heard, he sings very well. And also her other son, is an emo rapper. So I thought that was cool as well. So an emo rapper, that is definitely a niche, okay, to its finest. And according to what she has said, having 1 million plus followers on the grams, that is definitely doing well. All right. So shouts out to him on that. But she also said, fun fact, that her mother was a session singer, and she taught Coco how to sing, which definitely makes sense because low key, and this is what I get whenever I hear about girl groups that had family in the business, or the family worked in some type of music, fine arts type of deal, like a music teacher or a session singer or orchestra, all that stuff. They tend to end up being the best singer in the group. Don't Hey, hear me out now. And the reason why I say this is because it's like artist development. You're developing the craft. Once the and this was how it was back then. Once the parent figure out their children's niche, and majority of the time it was either sports or in the music industry, they will go far and beyond to make sure that kid gets where they need to go. All right, so it did not surprise me with Coco's vocals like that. Her mom was a session singer, so it did not surprise me on that, because that is part of artist development. And back then, those singers used to spend hours and hours and hours developing their craft of the voice, the pitch, the note, everything. All right, the diction, all that other stuff. All right. However, she said they grew up faith-based with no secular music. And when it came to her joining the group, she had to lie about it until the contract started coming, to where she had to sign for it. And at first, the mom was not in agreement with it, but soon she changed her mind when Coco rolled up in there with that new car for her. And that's what will happen with any parent. That's what will happen with any parent, is they will begin to change their mind once the kid begins to making money, especially when they make more than their parents, to where they're able to afford the finer things in life. And it almost gave me like Sam Cooke vibes too, because that's what happened with him and his father. Even though Sam Cooke was in the gospel sector for the longest, he also wanted to branch out, and he told his father that, he wanted to sing, he wanted to branch out. And his father was like, okay, we're treating this as a job. And then as the money start flowing in and he get recognition, the dad is basically signed, sealed, and delivered. He's all up and he's all for it now. So that's also like a true testament of, don't give up on your dreams, not to give up on your dreams. And if you have to prove people wrong, fine. But, as long as work is honest and is paying the bills, of course, people are going to start either flocking away or just loosening the tight grip that they once had for you. All right. And one good thing that his grandma gave to him, like Jalen, one good thing that Coco's mom gave to Jalen for as like advice is that even though he is young and living for as like career switch up, because as stated before, Coco wanted him to be a dentist, since the other child is already in the music industry. It's okay to do a career switch up. It's okay to start over again. Don't ever feel like that you are in you are falling behind because you are not where you're at. Okay, things change, and I had to learn that myself. So things change, and everybody's not gonna get it right right now when it comes to either success as well as get into the position or the dream career that you want. It really does take time and patience and effort to get to that goal. So, shout out to the grandma on that. She said, "You are always evolving as you grow up. As you grow up, you change." And she is right on that. All right. Now on to the segment with Tasha and the husband, Rocky, and they were celebrating 27 years of marriage in this segment, starting off with a breakfast before leaving to go meet with Motown Gospel Record. And what was discussed in this segment was, according to Kandi speak on it, she was like, "Yeah, tell me why that I was the topic of discussion in that whole entire segment." And but they were talking about the conflict between Kandi, and on the flip side, you got Kandi and her crew talking about what are the discrepancies between her and Tasha, and is there any point to where they can come to a resolution on their end. And Kandi was like, I would be cordial and make a bag at the same time. Okay. I don't have the time to be living in resentment and all that other stuff and be the scapegoat of it all. But Tasha, she was like, well, according to Tasha, the reason why she is being so secretive in this solo deal is because once before in 1998, she wanted to do a solo project and everyone was all in favor except for Kandi and Tasha's point of view. And for some reason, her project, her meaning Tasha, her project had got shelved, and Kandi's album just so happened to be released, probably like a couple of months later, per se, by the record label. And Tasha was like, it's just the timing of it all that happened then, and is kind of due to the reason why I'm being so secretive with this, because I want to make sure everything is signed, sealed, and delivered before I even speak up on this matter, because last time it did not go so well. But and then before I get to that, Todd had mentioned in his little, and Todd had gave him his little 2 cents on this matter, and to a certain degree he's correct on it. But at the same time, it's just like, okay, men, stay out the business at this point. Stay out of women's business at this point. Just a little bit. But Todd, he was like, Tasha just can't get past by what you have become and what she hasn't. To give context of what Tasha's point of view in regards to the solo project, Kandi has said this is a repeated pattern, because she said everyone knew about the solo project because they were working with their third album at the time. And with the third album at the time, they were going to utilize Tasha's solo album as a segue. Well, they was going to use the third album as a segue to launch Tasha's solo project, okay? Because if she would have done it by herself, then it's more like, okay, where the rest of the group at? Compared to if they would have utilized the third album to segue her solo album, it probably would have been a smooth, better presentation per se. However, due to Tasha venturing out and seeking other labels to get a deal signed, sealed, and delivered, and the record knew about it, it seems like to me it was a conflict of interest. And because Kandi has said the reason why she was mad, because with them working on the third album and Tasha wanted to go solo, they were working towards getting more money for that album since the other two albums were successful. And so they was trying to look for a larger payout for the third album, but due to Tasha seeking other deals with other record labels for her solo project, it squashed the entire negotiation process. And then that's when Kandi had flipped the switch on her head and be like, okay, I need to get in my bag, because obviously this is not going to play out. This third album is not going to play out because one person wants to venture out in a solo project. So that's what Kandi has said. All right. Allegedly. I was not there, but that's what Kandi said on her speak on it. Because I said I watched it. Now I watched the whole entire thing. Kandi's point of view in regards to in regards to Tasha's solo project at that time, and it is probably the reason why Tasha is so reluctant to tell anybody about the solo project until it's signed, sealed, and delivered. All right. So, but however, Kandi did say in her speak on it that she did at that time when it was all good in the hood in Xscape, she did enjoy spending the night with the Scott sisters at their house, because their only rule was you can go out as long as you want to, but you better be up in the morning for church. And I was like, I know that's right, because my mom was the same way. Oh, she said, yeah, y'all could be up all night long, but you better be ready, dressed, ready to go to church in the morning. Okay. So, and with Kandi having a strict religious background of her, I believe her father and her grandfather and her great grandfather being bishops and stuff like that. Yeah, that could play into a factor of a person being rebellious. All right. But now we're going to end the episode, concluding the end of the episode of Tasha and Rocky meeting with the record label. It's specifically Motown Gospel. Hint, I will be reviewing what is it? Growing Up Gospel on WeTV. I will be reviewing that. That looks like an interesting show. And that is a perfect segue of this as well, because Tasha has already released her gospel single, and it's coming from Motown Gospel. And with the other TV show Grown in Gospel Gospel is coming from Motown, where she went and sought this solo deal from. So basically, on this end of this episode, her and Rocky meets up with this record label, and they discuss the logistics of it all. She gives her 1-2 cents of sing a little ad lib for them, making sure her vocal cords are all good in the hood to pursue this solo career in the gospel sector. And one revelation that came from this was Rocky didn't even know that Tasha did not tell the women about her venturing out again for a solo album. And because the record executives was like, hey, have you mentioned this to Xscape about this? And she was like, no, I want to make sure everything is signed, sealed, and delivered before moving forward, which is a practice of moving in silence. All right. However, they did ask, so how would this come into play when it comes to escape? Are you going to be able to balance that or not? And she was like, she gave the impression like she was going to pray about it. She was going to think about it. She was going to tell the women in her own time. But hey, on the flip side, you got Kandi that has all these businesses and these ventures out here and still able to make do with escape. So I feel like Tasha, she can do the same thing. All right. But it only depends on her and how she wants to move forward on this project. But shouts out to her on venturing out because it does take a lot to do that. All right. Also, so yeah, that concludes the breakdown of the episode 2 of the escape of the Queens of R&B with a little bit of what Kandi has said on her speak on it to back up the information of what has been presented to us on this TV show. On Tamika's channel, as she reviewed it, she said she feels bad about how things had unfolded, airing out the family business. And she had been receiving people in her she has been receiving DMs of people and saying, "Oh, you're grown, get over it." Okay, that's another thing that we need to address. What I'll probably do on a separate video on that, but to keep this short is sometimes you can't get over it until it's interrupted. Okay, until it's interrupted, forgiven, and healed at the end of the day. Otherwise, it's just gonna keep festering up. So the fact is just like telling somebody to get over a grief. So because with this unleashing into the internet like this, it is a form of grieving process with her. All right, with her relationship with her sister and her mother, and she's still trying to figure out a way to come into a reconciliation moment whenever it does happen. So for people to tell her to say you're grown and get over it, I think that's very insensitive to a certain matter. Okay. She also stated that Rocky was a bully. And she said the reason being because allegedly during the R&B Divas and why it was scrubbed was because he pulled out a pow pow on Nikki Gilbert's husband. And I was like, really? Now you want me to go, but now you got me wanting to go back and rewatch R&B Divas wherever it's showing at. But I did find it odd at the time of why that just abruptly ended. But hey, to say the least. Also, she had said, let's see. People were also DMing her about Rocky's remarks in regards to posing a threat of, hey, don't start none, don't be none type of deal. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, if the disagreement is between the two sisters, let it be with the two sisters. Don't no husbands need to get involved in the matter unless it is necessary. But other than that, let the two sisters handle it out on their own in therapy with an unbiased individual so they can rebuild that foundation and be their best self, not only for themselves, but also as a sisterly unit as usual, per usual. But other than that, my final thoughts of this episode is Kandi's facial expressions was sending me. And like I said, I hope the Scott sisters come to reconciliation at some point. I know right now with everybody and their grandmama, including me, talking about this subject matter, it has went overboard. Like literally every day there was something unfolding about not only this particular episode, but also giving context of what has transpired as well. And that's definitely one of the reasons why I held out in reviewing my episode, because that was going to be a lot of follow-up videos after reviewing the whole entire show, right? And on the grand scheme of things, I was out of town too. So that was another reason why I could not produce the review immediately. But I wanted to give you all the review and plus more with my thoughts and seeing Kandi speak on it and Tamika's point of view on her channel and Tasha's interview with the folks at the radio station. You know, Tasha just saying that basically when it comes to Tasha's point of view, she just said that um she's not understanding why all this is happening and wishing it would stop. To a certain degree, that's the vibe that it's giving me. But other than that, like I said, in due time, reconciliation will come. Of course, be sure to support the women. I think it's brilliant for Tamika to start her channel and give her little 2 cents about the episode, because that's what Kandi been doing ever since Roa. Okay. And Tiny, she can start her YouTube channel up and give her side of the view. Tasha can start her YouTube channel and give her side of the view. So we can all get the context of each other's point of view and then come to our own conclusions in a sound way. But other than that, that concludes my review of not only episode 2 of Queens of R&B, but also a review of my thoughts of all the madness that had transpired this past week with Tamika's review, Kandi's review, Tasha's thoughts, and more. Okay. Support to as much as y'all are dragging her throughout the ethernet, support Tasha Scott on her solo gospel career. Okay, support Tamika Scott in her cookbook and her seasoning. I will be ordering a cookbook from Amazon because I do like to cook. Even though I did do her little giveaway. So hopefully I'll be one of those 5 people that will be qualified for her giveaway of the cookbook, the autographed cookbook and her seasonings, so I can try that out, girl. You know, because I be throwing down in the kitchen. But other than that, yeah, support Tamika Scott and all in her adventures. Of course, continue to support Kandi and her mogully business dealings. Support Tiny and her businesses and her dealings. Support SWV and her business and and their dealings. Support me. Okay, support me and my dealings and my full context of it all. But other than that, I'm gonna leave y'all to it. And I may break this video get down into 2. I'll see you guys in the next one. And